Hello everybody. Thank you so much for being here with me and for joining me to hear a little bit about Enhance and about what it is to bring cognitive training to VR. Okay. I'm João. It's like João in Polish, and sorry about it. It's not. I know it's not really easy. I actually lived in Poland for a bit, and I have deep emotional ties there. I usually visit every year, usually more than once. Unfortunately, this year, it's the situation we are all aware, so let's get it going. So just talk a little bit about me. I love game jams and experimenting with new things. I also learned that I wanted to be a game developer while I was in Poland. So I try to do, it's very important for me to try to do a little bit of everything, to try with 2D, 3D, multiplayer games and to basically explore what it is to actually make a game and what can a game be, and trying to break a little bit of these boundaries. I was formerly a software developer at Miniclip, so I'm working in this mobile version of Agario. It's a game that you heard about. Probably you played it, if you did, on PC, on the web, but it's actually it has more players on mobile and more revenue. And I organized the monthly Lisbon Game Dev Meets, some game jams and developer showcase events. And the way why I say organized, because you can see from these pictures, we Portuguese, we are kind of warm, and although our community is it's small, we are really passionate, and for me, organizing these things, it's very cool, to bring everybody together, and I couldn't really transition to the online event. So I hope that when everything passes, I can go back to this kind of organizations again. And so right now I am a senior Unity 3D developer at Virtuleap, working on Enhance, and that's why I'm here and what I am here to talk to you about. So just a little bit about Virtuleap. We are a mixture of scientists, game creators, and entrepreneurs, and we are working to offer the highest quality possible of games as medicine titles. We have a lot of different nationalities, different backgrounds, and this all contributes for us to develop the best product possible. And a little bit about Enhance. So what it is, Enhance, which is our main what we do mainly at Virtuleap. It's so Enhance is this VR app that consists on a growing library of brain training mini games, which one that tackles one or more different cognitive skills. This you can see it's being, your cognitive skills are being assessed and they are being tested, and you can see actually your progression. And one of our key features that we offer a daily workout. So imagine a workout of the day or WOD, as you have in CrossFit or something like that. That consists on 3 mini games. It's the same workout everywhere in the world, and you can fare against other users. And the idea is that you keep visiting Enhance every day so that you can further develop your cognitive skills. But to actually better understand what it is, I will show you a trailer where Nelson Dellis really explains what Enhance is.
Hi, my name is Nelson Dellis. I'm a 4-time USA memory champion, and I've spent years training my memory, building it up from an average memory to a champion level memory. If there's one thing that I've learned, it's that memory and cognitive skills are trainable. And just like any other skill, they have to be maintained through daily practice. But what if that practice could be more effective, transformative, and more importantly, fun? Let me introduce you to someone. This is Pico. We're going to show you a few things. Thank you. Enhance offers a daily workout of short, fun, and intense games designed to test and train your full range of cognitive abilities. Games that test things like memory, attention, problem solving, spatial orientation, motor skills, and information processing. You'll also be able to keep track of your performance over time, so you'll get access to personalized reports that bring meaning to your personal data. Enhance is effectively a gym for the mind. So what are you waiting for? Start flexing those cognitive muscles and improve your mental fitness.
All right, so now we're going to talk about what it actually is to develop Enhance. So this product you just saw the trailer for. What my main focus of this talk will be on actually developing one of the mini games. So what it goes like from the beginning till releasing one of those games. But of course, when we are talking about an app that that aggregates a bunch of mini games, there is a ground base that needs to exist. But so let's just talk about it a little bit and get it out of the way. So on a technical level, of course, there is like a shared app structure that allows for an easy addition of new games. We have a shared world like this one that you see on your right where the games are loaded on. So it means that you are always in the same space. It's just experiences are loaded and unloaded in the same place. We release on the release 2.0.0 a huge UI system revamp. So to actually allow for these new additions and to show all the important analytics regarding the cognitive tests. And we have a shared lifecycle control between games, same analytics, and a lot of shared components. And this is why, because these games also share the same design and science base. So they need to share the same skeleton. And so what is this science and design base? We basically tackle 7 main categories that are divided in 17 subcategories. So these main categories are on here, these ones on the right. So spatial orientation, flexibility, attention, problem solving, memory, motor skills, and processing. And we have a shared scoring system, which also means that we have a shared progression logic. And the way it works is that whenever you play, you receive a score for the way you did on said game. This game, which is under a category, contributes for the overall score of that category, and then these categories contribute for your enhanced performance index score, which is basically your overall score on Enhance. And so before we actually move to the mini games, I want to present you what we are actually going to explore and see, which is how the different departments share and the development process and how they communicate with each other and what synergies are created. So we have more than these departments, of course, but these are the ones that are responsible for the creation of a mini game. So we have the neuroscience department, game design, programming, art, QA, and audio design. And throughout this presentation, on the bottom of each phase, you will be able to see which departments are involved on this development phase or not. And so the first phase is research. And on research, as you can see on the bottom, we only have the neuroscience department. And so this is the first step, and it's the one that defines all development. So what it basically consists in is that the neuroscience department needs to check, to research for existing neuroscience tests and see if there are some that would tackle one of the 7 categories, or maybe more than one, that we have on the game. And so let's say for the purpose of this exercise and for the example that I'm going to pick on throughout the conversation, the talk, that the neuroscience department identified a suitable test that tackles attention, and more specifically, the subcategory of sustained attention. What is this test? This test is PVT, which stands for Psychomotor Vigilance Test, and it's quite basic. So as you see on the right, we have this black screen, and whenever a red dot appears, we need to just press some button. So it's basically testing, like measuring the reaction time. And so we proceed on to phase 2. And this is the phase where the science test gets converted into game. So we keep the neuroscience department team, but game design department joins in. And what they need to do, and what is the main exercise for this phase, is to actually convert the neuroscience language of the neuroscience test into game development language. So what I mean to say with this is that's basically breaking down the test and stripping it from all the things that you can have in a test that says that the user needs to be sitting down, that needs to have these devices attached or something like this, and breaking it down into game rules. And so it's something like this for PVT. We have this psychomotor vigilance task based on simple tasks, all of this overview procedure, but this is broken down in 3 rules. So we need a stimulus needs to be shown on the screen, the red dot or something else. An action is required from the player once this red dot appears, and there is an interval stimulus time. So it's a random time between intervals, and this is needed so that the player cannot anticipate. If you make it like every 2 seconds, the player will know, well, I need to react every 2 seconds. If you give a rhythm to it, this interval needs to be random. And so comes phase 3, jam time. So this is when I come in as a developer, as a programmer, sorry. And so this is the part where the game design presents the requirements to the programming team. So these things where the game design broke it down, like for these 3 rules, are presented to the programming team. And what ensues is basically a proof of concept season. So this lasts for about 1-2 weeks. There is no maximum of proofs of concept you can do. Like the idea is to experiment as much as possible, to actually go wild. And a POC is like very rough around the edges. It doesn't have like the art department is still not here, so it will either be reusable assets or programmer art. So it looks really ugly. It's completely independent from Enhance's architecture. We are just testing it out, and it doesn't actually need to work in the way that it can be. It can be something where you just say, well, imagine that now it would validate or not. But it's something that it's important for us to see the interactions, I'm sorry. So as a programmer and as someone who really loves game jams, what it really means to me is that, well, it's a 1-2 week game jam. This 1-2 week depends on the flexibility we have for deadlines, of course. And it's a game jam with a really defined team and with mandatory diversifiers. And so for this POC, these are the diversifiers, which is basically the thing that that game design stripped from took out from the neuroscience test. So a stimulus needs to be shown on the screen, an action is required from the player, and the interval, and there needs to be a random interval between the stimuli, and what is being tracked is the reaction time. So let's see what we did on this POC season for this game. So this is, I'm terrible at this game, by the way. You'll see me fail everywhere, but this is basically the most clear basically translation from PVT to VR. So the idea is that you let the blue batteries in and you press the button on the red one. Then there is this crazy robot dancing discotheque thing with naked humanoids. And so the idea here is that you just mimic the robot's movements as soon as they appear. Or you can have something like more sports-based, where you are a goalkeeper and need to defend the attempt conversions of the robot. And And yeah, so this is another way we could have gone. Or we can do like a Polish winter simulator where you do like a snowball fight. And we have a very good example in Poland with Superhot of like of a very good way of actually throwing things at people's faces in VR that works. But well, I don't think this is a good one, and it's kind of it gets kind of aggressive, and yeah, it's just I think it's a big no-no in VR unless you are masters like Superhot. And or we can actually have something like a shooting game, and so you would need to react once this apple drops, and once it's in the center of the target, that you would need to shoot it. And the thing here, you can see from the first shot to the second one, there's this random period of time, and so it takes a little bit, and the player cannot anticipate it that much. Or you can have something like Guacamole, something that you will find in real life, and it responds to, and it answers the test. It's like you have this stimuli that appears, it's random time between them, and you need to react, and the way you react is by actually hitting it with an hammer. And so in the end, we actually went with this POC. It was the most intuitive one. It didn't break the test, and it was also the one that everybody in the team felt was like, well, the most fun. And so after this POC season, and as I already said for this, for the Guacamole one, there is an exercise that needs to be made by the neuroscience and design team where all the POCs needs to be tested to make sure that the test purposes were not diluted or invalidated. On some of the POCs I showed you, you can actually tell when things are going to happen. Well, if when the robot is going to shoot the ball and you need to defend it, you can see that there's a line there, or on when the robot's going to throw you like a snowball, well, there's this animation before. So some of the POCs, sometimes they break the test a little bit. And this needs to be asserted by the game design and neuroscience team. Everybody in the team tests out the POCs and gives their own feedback. This is extremely important because it brings like new visions, like new points of view on the POCs that were developed, and it's actually nice to see like how you react, if you like it or not, like if it makes sense, is it playable, and then in the end. We choose one POC or a merge of some, which happened already for other games, not for this one. And we draft an initial game design document. And so comes phase 4. On phase 4, basically the art department comes in. So we have this initial game design document draft, and what it's incremental, right? So it starts with, these are the base purposes of the test. This is what we are trying to test and assert. And now it actually, with the POC, it's actually a game. So it has rules and all that. But we try to make it as open as possible in terms of how do things actually look like. And this is why, so that art can come in and fill the visual gaps of the game design document. Of course, whatever art purpose, whatever art proposes in terms of this visual, to fulfill these visual gaps, needs to be again validated by neuroscience and game design to see if it doesn't break the test. So imagine that it was really important for this test to have like as much as focus as possible before the stimuli appeared. Well, it wouldn't be that good like with this robot discotheque dancing game, right? There's so many things happening, so many colors, and so this needs to be validated. And this is also the time where programming aligns with art, how to fulfill the artistic vision through the best solutions possible, both in terms of performance and or anything else that might arise. So this is for another game, and this is basically an odd one out game. The only thing you need to say is like which object is different or has a feature that no other objects have. And so we have the initial POC. It's using pizzas, but this is because there is another game with pizzas, and it's like just repurposing existing assets. And in the end, we end up like with this much more pleasant presentation of this, where we actually like can grab and analyze different eggs against each other, and that we deliver it to the robot, that this element of interaction to the game that we didn't have before. And it's a lot of the art, a lot of art department's fault that the game ends up as good as it is. And so once this is closed and all the games, the idea of like what assets we need and how the game is going to look like it's closed, we enter in a phase of functional prototype. At this point, game design and neuroscience leave the development process, and QA joins in. So this is the actual implementation of the final game design document draft. It means that art needs to be functional, but not necessarily final. It means that also that the code should be close to final. And what this means is that a lot of the heavy load was done for the proof of concept. We try to write the proof of concept. Well, yeah, it's game jam, but it doesn't need to be like completely bad code. So we try to write it as clean as possible so that we can reuse it. At least the base, like the algorithmic base of all of it. And it also means that like this game needs to be integrated in Enhance's app structure. So it needs to be bootable from the game library. It needs to implement progression and scoring. It needs to work in the shared lifecycle management of the app. It needs to have analytics, and it also needs to have implemented tutorial logic, because as we target like a lot of people, and accessibility is something really important for us. So we really need to have a tutorial implemented for every game. And so, as I mentioned, this is also the time where QA joins in and they start testing features as they are implemented, and doing what QA loves the most, which is breaking everybody's heart and destroying hopes and dreams. I'm joking, like QA is cool. And so on phase 6, it's a phase of refinement and polish. So game design joins in again, and audio, but I will talk about audio later. So the idea of game design rejoining, it's because now we are in a phase where we have a playable prototype. So we need to propose, game design comes in to propose iterations from both art and programming. And this is a constant iteration loop, as long as we can afford it on the deadlines that we have. And so and it's also important because the game is fully playable. Because as I said, like code should be final, but or close to final. But art needs to be only functional. But this is the game is playable, even if it's just with like the shaders are wrong, the materials are not right, but at least things are in the position they should be. And so this is the time for game design to come and to start testing different progression values for the game. So there's the idea is to achieve a fair but challenging progression. So we don't want players to become too frustrated. We also don't want players to come and achieve the maximum score like in one session. We want them to have a reason to come back, because otherwise, if we are giving you something that promises to improve your cognitive skills, and if you are already the best in the beginning, what is there to improve after? And this is another phase where the whole team plays the game and to help with this fine tuning. So everybody has different ways of approaching it, and especially like everybody has different cognitive skills. Some people are better at some things, some people are better at others. And so it's important to have the whole team playing the game, also giving their feedback if there's something that they feel like more in terms of accessibility that is not working so well, and to also achieve this result, this fair and challenging progression. From art, it's the part to go over the initial functional assets and to deliver them as polished and optimized as possible. So for this egg game that I showed you, we add this initial table that you can see on the left with the wireframe, and this is the final model. So it's much more complex and it's nicer. It has lights that can be controlled by shader and all that. So it's the part where the game goes from something that works to something that works and looks nice. And this is also the phase where audio design department comes in to create and integrate the game's audio, like from background music to sound effects. But one note is that it depends, right? So if we are testing something and the test that we are making, it's very audio based. So for instance, we have a game where you are playing hide and seek with the robot and you cannot see him, but you can hear him. And through specialized audio, you need to identify where he is. Well, this is a game that is very heavily audio based. I'm sorry. So this means that audio needs to join in and in a prototype phase and not so late into development. And so we arrive at phase 7. And phase 7, well, it's not a fancy phase. It's wrapping up. So at this point, we just have like programming, game design, and QA doing like all the final things, like the back office setup, localization integration, like all the final builds and all that. And once everything is complete, this means that the game is ready to be shipped on the next release. It doesn't mean it will be released immediately, because what I described you, it's basically a pipeline for one game, but we usually do 2-3 games at the same time. So this means that once these 3 games are complete, we can actually bundle them in one release and do it. And so this is the final. Put the audio a little bit down. So this is the final result. One thing that you may notice is now that we actually have 2 hammers, which we didn't have on the POC. This came for 2 reasons. Through experimentation, and people found that it was nicer, it was more fun with 2 hammers, but also in terms of progression. You will see in a second that we can actually have more than one mode coming up at the same time, and having the 2 hammers allows like for different types of interactions. You can see this level bar going up. So this is we have this level bar in all games. It's part of this shared scoring system, and you can see on the background that we are on this world that where all the games get loaded in. So we can, should be wrapping up soon. We have the robot on the side. It depends on the games. Like the robot is always there to help you out. He's the one who gives you the tutorial. And sometimes it's more integrated, sometimes it's more of a companion. Yeah, as you can see, like this game did not diverge a lot from the POC because it worked right away and it made sense. And in the end, you are presented like with your score, just a little bit of our common world. And so, what are the takeaways from this pipeline of development and from this presentation? Well, first one, we should, if it wasn't obvious already for everybody, not from this game, but like from everything, serious games can be fun. So these are other games we have in our app. You already know this egg game on the top right. But So basically, we have like this one on the top left. It's called React, and it's there to test your flexibility, like your task switching and response inhibition. On the top right is ODEC, which is there to see like the problem solving, more specifically deductive reasoning. On the bottom left, you have this pizza builder game where you need to assemble pizzas, and it has a lot of things going on. So it's really testing your attention, your divided attention, as well as problem solving, because you have these timers and you need to manage what pieces to assemble. Or you have this one on the bottom right. It's called assembly, which where you just need to press the gears to assemble these different devices, and from smallest to highest. So it's testing your processing speed, and this is all tests, and it's all valid tests, but they are being presented in a manner that is fun, and but they are still valid. And so another important thing is that the base neuroscience tests do not diminish our creativity. Instead, they give it a direction. So with these minor things, with these three things we had from that game design extracted from the PVT test, we were able to do something that mimics a device that exists in real life. Some crazy like pattern matching. Body pattern matching that you will probably see in something like O-shape, or something like you see on the top right that actually mimics the test more closely, or on the bottom left, like a sports game, something with head tracking on the snowball POC, or a shooter game, and this is all for the same test. So by having this test as a base, our creativity it's not diminished at all. It's just improves in terms of actually giving it a direction. And this, I think, it's really important for all studios that can afford it, and not just VR. Nothing to do with serious games. Nothing to do with cognitive training or anything. But for studios who can afford it, agreeing on a final direction as a team means that the shared vision is much more present. And so what I mean with this is that there are a lot of times where this final direction, it's agreed between one team or two teams, and it's just transmitted to the rest of the team. But having it this way means that there's a lot of doubts, right? There's a lot of like passage of information that you need to do, and also means that you are closing the rest of the team from this process of achieving what could be the best direction for it. So the results of doing it the way we are doing it is that we have less meetings, we have less back and forth, we have much more certainty about what we are doing, and this results in less mistakes. And on the vein of what I was saying, empowering technical departments such as art, audio, programming, even QA to make key definition decisions early on means that you will have a greater ownership. You will have better solutions because everyone will bring to the table the things that they are the best in, and not the things that someone thinks they are the best in, or someone thinks are the best way of achieving something. And this will result in something that will have a better overall result. So if you can empower the technical departments of your team to be in the definition process, to be there from the beginning, and to make key definitions, not just technical, but also definitions that fully change the way the final product looks like, this will help you immensely. So last but not least, download Enhance is totally free. We are available on SideQuest for Quest 1 and 2. We are available on Oculus Store for Oculus Rift. We are on Viveport for HTC devices, and we are also on Steam. And feel free to follow me. Feel free to follow Virtuleap. Everything is there on this slide. Thank you very much for being here today with me. And well, let's see. There's some questions. So, how do you conduct mass user testing in VR? Well, actually, we don't right now. And but our analytics have been showing that for our games and the cognitive testings we are doing, just with testing with the people from our team, which is around like 13, we have been nailing it on the progression that we want to have. But of course, this is not ideal, and ideally we would have something like more user testing and all that. And this was the idea also, but well, COVID kind of ruined it a little bit. How to make sure the science test doesn't? Okay, how do you make sure the science test doesn't ruin the fun of the games? Well, it can, but this is the thing, and this is, I think, it's like the idea of the entire talk, that like you need, the idea is that you by going on this step where game design just strips everything that is like very like sciencey, let's put it like that, from the test and just leaves the game rules. This means that when it reaches the rest of the team, although you are concerned that like these game rules need to be done, this is game development now. You are not really concerned with the neuroscience part, because you know it was validated, and you know that you will be whatever you do, if you respect these rules that were given to you, will still be a valid test. And so this is how we go about having our games be fun, but still be part of a test and doing the purpose that they have to do. How many scientists and how much time for research do you need to make a full game? So the science, how many scientists? It depends. Right now, we have one scientist which is with us, like not external. But before we had other and more neuroscientists at the same time. The thing is that there was a lot of research that was done, and then we have a lot of research already, and then the games take time to make, right? And so we are now more focused on the actual creation of games. So to make a full game, our games are really short, like in their intent. You have something that takes more time, like for instance, if you look at this pizza game, there's a lot of assets, there's a lot of things going on, so it takes more time. But on the other games, they are short, and the fact that they are short and the fact that they are small tests means that our development time, it's not really that big. You can, and many times what happens too is that you have a POC that is so good that the only thing it needs on top of it is the integration on the structure and better art, of course, and the integration of art. So we do releases every 2 to 3 months, and yeah, so our games are developed in less than that. So if as a programmer, do I feel it's hard to convert game jam games into a science test? Well, maybe, but the thing is that we are doing it the other way around. So we already go into the game jam part of it, like so this proof of concept phase, with the neuroscience test in mind. And so yeah, so we are doing the other way around. I think like if you want to convert a pre-existing game into a test, that can happen like as someone else asked, like maybe you will take the fun out of it, right? So you want to, because what we are trying to do is add fun on top of something and not like adapt something fun to something else. If we have an internal name for that type of pipeline, yeah, we actually do. It's called EESI, which is like EESI. I don't remember what it stands for, actually. I'm terribly sorry. But yeah, we do, and we have. So I basically described the pipeline to you, but we actually have. We have like diagrams and all that, like about the pipeline, and we have like timelines and all of this, and it's something that we change like and adapt to this, and it's been working really well for us. It's really made our games come out much faster than before. But yeah, don't remember what it stands for. How do you make sure art direction is consistent throughout all games? Well, the way it stands, like first we have something common between the games. It's like this robot you see, Pico, and we have the same world. So this means that the assets need to look good on the world, then they need to look good with Pico. So we already have something here. Of course, sometimes we kind of break it. You can have assets more dark in one game and more whitish in the other. And sometimes those inconsistencies can happen, and so then we try like in further in consequent releases to make it like more similar if we feel that it's really like really disconcerting or something like this. But it needs to be something that like the artists talk with each other and align. In like what is the art direction, what is the feel of the world and all that. How big is the game dev scene in Portugal? Well, not big at all. There's some of us, and but the way it works actually is that we have a really big company in Miniclip. So it's probably like close to 300 employees. I was one of them till January of this year. But then besides that, it's really small companies or indie studios. And when I say really small companies, maybe I'm not being fair. Like we have Lockwood, we have Oma Games and all that. But when I'm saying like small in terms of like number of employees, and all the rest is more indie. So yeah, not a lot of investment, and most of the people that at some point end up leaving and going somewhere else. So yeah, it is what it is. But we are passionate, I think, and I think that I think we are good at what we do. If you had to pick one of the games and upgrade it to a standalone product, which one would you choose? Well, I'm a little bit suspicious on this one because it was like the first game I did for Enhanced, but well, it would be the Pizza Builder game because it's like, not that there are not other games that do it too, but it's kind of like single player Overcooked in VR, and well, it's extremely fun to play actually. And yeah, so that is my favorite game, but doesn't mean it's the best one. It's just that, yeah, the one I like the most. Yeah, so I still have some time, so I don't know if you guys have any more questions. Please use Slido. I don't know if there are questions in on Twitch, but I'm not checking it out. And please use the link that's on the right. Okay, well, there's nothing more. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the Game Industry Conference for having me. I hope it was informative. I hope you all liked it, and I hope next year I can be there and that we can have a beer together. So cheers.